say media collection,
Yes.
you just mean movies, TV, things like that?
I collect physical media, so yeah, movies on VHS, Blu-ray, and DVD, and now 4K.
Okay.
Music on vinyl, cassette, and CD, and video games. I have a very extensive video game collection. I have 40-odd systems at this point, and I have a closet filled with games for every system from every era. The Star Wars arcade machine in the bar is mine. Like, it was in my apartment for 6 years, and we moved it to the bar. It's from 1983.
Holy shit! But you're not striking me as a hoarder. This feels like a deliberate. You actually have deliberate artifacts that you're collecting.
Yeah, no, it's not hoarding. It's collecting. Like, I go out and I look for stuff and I buy. It's all very neatly organized. It actually looks very ornamental and cool in my apartment.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
You got to
It's
get a
not
little
like
action,
there's
babe.
stacks of shit. It's all very organized.
I believe you because, I mean, that's kind of the style of Joey Rose's and out here. Like, it feels very intentional.
Yeah, it's very, I'll wait to talk about that.
Oh, we're rolling, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, we could do the intro. This is the Cheat Day Show. I'm Ryan Reiss. It's a very special one today. We're here at Joey Rose's Sandwich Shop that's owned by Joe Derosa, tremendously funny comedian, friend, former roommate. A lot of questions for him. Sure. As always, we got Kitty with us on mic, and we also have T with us. Normally we shoot at the Comedy Cellar, but this is going to be our first on-location shoot here at Joey Rose's.
Yes.
Joe Derosa.
Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for having me. Good to see all of you.
Yeah.
This is the grand opening of your outside space.
Yeah. We opened today. The outdoor, it's called the Wyoming Winnebago. It's sponsored by Wyoming Whiskey, our dear friends and whiskey makers. And we built Winnebago outside of Joey Rose's, the bar and sandwich shop. And we're inside of it right now. Yeah, so
it looks great.
Thanks.
I'd be very. It looks so nice. I'm concerned that it's on a New York City street.
Yeah. Well, luckily it doesn't have wheels.
Nice.
Yeah, nobody can steal it.
I'm just wondering how many homeless people were like, "That's going to be a great home."
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
And I've spent a lot of time in outside eateries. I think
we tried to. A lot of detail went into the interior of the place, and a lot of detail went into the exterior, the facade of the place. And when it came to the outdoor space, we wanted to put the same amount of detail and thought into it. We from the jump wanted this place to be a throwback, and we didn't want it to feel like like we were throwing back. We wanted it to be like you walked in it and we're like, oh, this has been here for a while, right? So that's really been behind everything we've done, every decision we've made. Artistically. And,
I mean, this has been your passion for the last, 2 years?
Well, as you know, as my ex-roommate, bars have been my passion for many years. But, yeah, opening one and co-owning one with Paul Italia has been the last 2 years.
So this is kind of your place, your sandwich shop is kind of the talk of the comedy community, mostly because it was such a left turn in that you're an established professional comedian that came up through the ranks. You started in Philly, right?
Yeah, Philly,
Yeah, moved to New York City.
New York.
Multiple Comedy Central specials, author, podcast, film, TV, and then sandwich shop.
He's a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
Well, no, we heard it. We thought it was a prank. And when it came out, we're like, what the hell is this?
I didn't have enough, I wasn't pursuing enough shaky ventures. I was like, let me add another anxiety-inducing venture to the mix.
Oh, God, a restaurant.
Stand-up and podcasting. And writing weren't enough. Yeah,
How can I ruin my mental health?
Yeah. That's basically
Own a business.
Basically it. No, I mean, it was just, look, during the pandemic, obviously a lot shifted here in New York City. A lot shifted everywhere. And it was a very terrible time. And, this idea was mildly formed before that. But in having conversations with Paul during that period.
Owner of the Stand.
Yeah. Paul also owns the Stand Comedy Club, and he's a proprietor of restaurants and stuff. So having conversations about this idea with him during the pandemic, it started to grow bigger than just the idea of a place that had these sandwiches that I wanted to make for people. It started to turn into a way to try to give something in our humble way back to New York, to a neighborhood we really love, Lower East Side. And also just to the people coming out of this awful time where they could get a good sandwich are a great sandwich, I think.
Great. Great.
And awesome drinks for cheap. You know, I think in the pandemic, a lot of us, especially a lot of people in the food and beverage industry, you know, it was kind of got tired of like everything being craft cocktails, everything being $17, you know, sandwiches being $24.
Yeah.
You know, all this crap that just, you know, like felt like you were living in an airport. You know, we're going to gouge you because we can. And I think that sucks. And we really tried to create a place that not only aesthetically felt like a throwback to a different time period in New York City, but financially it was a throwback too. And the quality that we were offering for those prices was a throwback. So that's really what the whole idea was. That's why it says Social Club on the sign, because we felt like we really based the idea of this place a lot on social clubs that we saw in you know, that we experienced years ago, but then also that we saw in movies that we liked and stuff like that. Like the idea that the guys in the neighborhood had a place that they went, and it was their home away from home. You know, there's a sign inside that says "Welcome Home." I want people to come here and hang out. And the greatest compliment we ever get, and we get it more frequently. I'm very flattered at how frequently we get it. Is when a person in their 70s or 80s comes in and goes, "Oh man, I haven't seen a place like this in years." You know, I'm like, that's like almost brings a tear to my eye. So that's pretty cool. You know, that was the whole goal.
Oh, I mean, look, you're running a restaurant, but you're also you are a comedian. So like, how do you know, both jobs require you to be at them 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, this is strangely similar to comedy and podcasting in the sense that the physical commitment of it is shorter than the mental commitment of it. You know, we're blessed. We have a great staff here, amazing staff that really does a lot of great stuff that we can trust with this place when we're not around physically. We're always around, you know, but sometimes when we're not here physically, it's great to know that you have people you can trust, which is amazing. My hat's off to them. We have the best staff in the world. But that makes it a lot like comedy in the sense that, like, well, physically you have to be there for this many hours in the day. Mentally, though,
you'll
it's
think
the
about
rest
it
of
forever.
the day. Yeah. So, you know, you just
I think I was drinking with you like 6 months ago, and you're like, I gotta go. There's a bread delivery. And I'm like, oh God, what happened in your life that you're like, I gotta go. I got a bread delivery.
Everybody's got to get the bread delivered.
I gotta get up in the morning, get the bread.
Well, luckily, when I'm drinking with somebody and I go, I gotta go. I have to go to my bar, and I can just keep drinking.
Oh, by the way, that seems like a great call for an alcoholic. He had a sandwich shop. He's like, you know what this place needs? Whiskey.
That was Paul's idea. Paul's idea was to turn it. I just said, let's do a sandwich shop. He was like, let's do a bar and sandwich shop. I was like, I'm not going to argue with you.
Wait, you guys have this crazy thing where you can buy, and I don't know any other shop that does this, you can actually get a coffee at the coffee shop next door, come into Joey Rose's, and you can make your coffee an Irish coffee.
Yeah, for a small charge, we will spike your coffee for you.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Was that sort of in the same vein of, like, we want people to be here hanging out, and this is a great way to pull them further in?
Well, that really was based in community.
Yeah.
We did that on St. Paddy's Day as a way for St. Paddy's Day to be something that didn't just benefit us, but a way for us to do something with We're doing it with the Fat Black Coffee Shop, which is an amazing coffee shop and also a great spot for comedy. They do shows
comedy there.
Yeah,
so
they do shows there every night. They're great.
Things are going well. I'm at the coffee shop next week.
I've done a bunch of open mics there.
Yeah, which I love. I mean, talk about classic New York,
Yeah.
like comedy in a coffee shop. That's like, you know, that's like classic 60s Cafe Wah stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we really wanted we wanted to partner up with our neighbors. We didn't want to come in and just make it about our spot. We wanted to really be community and or be part of a community. And our neighbors have been so welcoming. We're next to Black Cat. They're amazing. Black Crescent is right there, which is an amazing bar. Reynolds and the whole crew over there have been so incredible to us. They send people over to us. We send people over to them. It's so wonderful.
I'm your neighbor, too. I'm like a block away. And I was waiting to tell you this. I'm actually a Joey Rose's loyalist.
I was going to say, you look terribly familiar to me.
But I'm shy, and
I was just going to say you look terrible, but
Yeah, that too. But I'm here like twice a week. I get a sandwich.
That's where I know you from. I was like, I know her from somewhere.
Yeah.
I couldn't place it.
But I'm too shy to be like, oh, I do the podcast with Ryan. You know what I mean? I just want
Why?
to get my food and
Take it
enjoy
home.
it. Yeah, and I'll bother Joey another time. Like, we'll make the connect. We'll play the name game.
Oh no,
You
it's
know?
yeah. No, thank you for that though.
But yeah.
Not for not talking to me, for being a loyalist. Yeah.
Thanks for fucking ignoring me. Yeah, no. The sandwiches are as good as.
What's your favorite sandwich?
Well, I like the dad recently, but my gateway drug was the
dad?
Ami.
What is the dad?
We actually have a dad right here. The dad is it's our version of an classic Italian hoagie. It's mortadella, Genoa salami, and ham cappy with provolone and Asiago and tomato and onion. I called it the dad because I was like, this would be my dad's favorite sandwich here. So that's why I called it the dad.
Nice looking sandwich.
It's
Thanks.
so good, guys.
Then we got a local here, which is turkey and roast beef, mayo, white American cheese, hot cherry peppers. Tomato and onion, mayo. That's called the local because that's based on a sandwich I grew up near. And then
It's kind of a club, right?
Say again?
Technically, it's like a club.
No.
No?
How dare you?
Fuck off, Kitty.
I mean, yeah, it has turkey.
You were doing
on it.
great, Kitty.
You should have stuck to not talking to him.
This is the Eastie. This is Asiago, prosciutto, Genoa salami, and sweet peppers. This is called the Eastie because I created. This was the first sandwich on the menu I created, but I did this one when I lived in L.A. So when I was putting the menu together and thinking of names, I was like, I'll call that the Eastie because I made that when I lived in L.A. because I was trying to make myself an East Coast style sandwich when I lived out there, and these were the ingredients I could gather. So there's your sandwiches.
How's the bread out there? Is it true the bread's no good?
You can get like Amoroso rolls if you try, and that's passable. You know, that's fine. And some places have decent bread. I would usually, when I lived out there, I would buy French baguettes, you know, because they were crusty.
Yeah.
But we bake our bread here fresh daily, and I think that's the only way to go if you have a sandwich shop. So,
Well, I tell you, man, it does feel like. So when I lived with Joe, I can tell you, this dude created the party. Like multiple nights, I would come home and the apartment would be filled with people, and he'd be like, "Yeah, we're having a party. I got a beer pong table." like pretty consistent.
yeah.
I feel like you'd enjoy that, though. Sounds
Oh,
like
I didn't mind it, but
Yeah.
I mean, like he was the one who arranged
The
everything.
social
Ryan-
chair.
Oh yeah.
Ryan was never, he was never upset about it. You know, he was never a wet blanket about it. He enjoyed the party. But what I hated was when we lived together, Ryan was not single. In fact, he was dating
I remember
our roommate,
Allie.
Allie Green.
Oh, Allie.
You got-
Love her.
Oh, Allie was also a roommate?
It's Allie's apartment.
It was Allie's apartment.
Oh, poor Allie.
And I moved in, and Allie was like, me and my boyfriend lived there. We had a fourth roommate, Linda, who moved out after a while. But
Who was a waitress at Caroline's.
Yes. Linda Turley, lovely person, good friend, great amazing photographer, which is what she does now. But at the time, she was also waitressing, and we all lived there together. But Ryan had a girlfriend, and I was friends with Allie before I was friends with Ryan, and then I became friends with Ryan, and I always wanted to do like guy shit with Ryan, but like he could only do so much guy shit because he was like, I gotta go, Allie's at home.
Oh, I had to wing him a couple of times. I had to distract. Like he came up to one night. He's like, I got these two foreign chicks. I don't know. They don't speak English. You got to do something. And I was like, I mean, I guess. He's like, just talk
Ryan
to
only
her.
speaks English.
Talk to her.
Yeah.
Talk to her in the living room, and I'll be with the friend.
Yeah, just talk to her and pretend like you're gonna hook up with her.
Jump on the grenade, as they say.
They were good. They were like Swedish or something. They were good looking. There was
those
no
are
doubt
always
about it.
fun.
They were very, very lovely.
The Swedes.
That was as close as I ever came to a Charles in Charge episode, like sitcom plot, like I think two Swedish horses. Let's go.
Oh,
you know?
don't let him fool you with his sweetness. He's a man about town. He is a coxman, I believe the term would be.
I'm a bachelor, and there's
A
nothing
cocksmith?
wrong with that.
What
Oh,
about
God,
a
yeah.
cocksmith?
There was a time when being a bachelor wasn't a crime. You could
It's not a crime.
I watched
I
the
know,
man
I'm kidding.
work, man. I mean, whether he was with him like for a long period of time or short period of time, like he'd cook him dinner. He'd like
So
it was a
Joe's
whole
got
thing.
game. Joe's
Joe's
got
got some
game.
real game.
I'm a gent.
He's got some real game.
Thank
Italian
you.
men, though, this is my thing. They just are. There's we can be very over the top Italians, but right now there is a need for men to be more affectionate, and Guidos are here for us.
Yeah.
Listen,
And I think it works.
I've seen him getting ready for a date cooking meatballs in his underwear. It's the closest I've ever
That's
gotten
so
to like
hot.
Goodfellas. I'm like, what's
That's-
going on here?
That's
Well,
endearing.
He's like, I got a date coming over. I'm like, great.
and she would eat it up.
So you'd make dinner for any date, or would it have to be somebody at least a little bit special?
Say again?
Do you give dinner just to any common street whore, or did you also give it to like
The kids and their language.
I like to cook for. Look, friends are driving by. I like to cook for people in general. So
So, yeah,
I'm not. You
no
know, actually,
prerequisite requirements?
Actually, the only reason I usually cook more for people I know a little bit better is because sometimes it's a little weird on a early date to say
That's
to
what I'm
somebody,
saying, yeah.
"I'm going to cook for you." It seems like there's a ploy at work. So I usually don't say that until I know the person a little bit, and they know that I'm literally saying, "No, I will cook." You
yeah,
know?
that's what I figured.
But I like cooking. It's it's fun.
What's your favorite thing to make?
Meatballs. And
The meatballs.
Like Sunday gravy. Like I love doing
In his
that.
underwear.
Yeah, like most Sundays I do that. Like
What
all
is
day.
Sunday gravy?
Like tomato gravy with like meat, sausage, and meatballs and pork ribs and
Oh
stuff.
man.
It's
Yeah.
not marinara. It's actual. It's not sauce. It's gravy. It has the meat, and you start it early in
Oh,
the
the
morning.
meat is like blended.
yeah, you gotta
Flavors
have.
it. Stews in it all day. That's why I call it gravy, because gravy, like turkey makes gravy, right? Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that, honestly.
Roast beef, like you make gravy from
I
the
didn't know
meat,
that.
like it's an intricate part.
Yeah.
Sauce. This is a big fight amongst people, but like sauce to me is like it's sauce. You put it on top. It's made to be put on something.
sauce.
The meat is not a component in it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But yeah, you stew the meat all day in the tomatoes.
Like breaks up.
If
Yeah,
it
that
starts
Make
as
a
sauce, it
roux.
becomes gravy. Yeah.
Wow. That
What do you
sounds
think of
I
Racine
do.
sauce?
I never had it. I heard it's amazing. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I'm not even Italian.
Mike Racine.
What?
Mike
I was-
Racine makes
yeah.
his own gravy or sauce.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard it's fantastic.
Yeah,
He used to sell it out of his trunk.
out of his trunk.
Wild.
I'm
How old
weird.
school is
You're
that?
not
That's
even
actually
Italian
insane.
though.
I'm adopted. I was raised Italian. I was raised
Oh.
as East Coast Italian as you could be, but no, I'm Arab. I'm mostly Egyptian.
I mean, but I think Italian is in culture, right? Like
Yeah.
anyone from the tri-state area could essentially be Italian.
You pass for Italian.
Well, we
He's
live.
from
We'll put
Philly.
it that
yeah.
way.
We live in
Philly, yeah.
identity culture, right? So I identify. At this point, I identify as Italian.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Like honestly, I really do.
I mean, you are essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I never grew up with anybody except Italian Americans in my family. I didn't know anybody Arab until I was in college.
Yeah. That must have been interesting.
I knew
though.
Arab, Irish, and Polish Catholics. Like that's all I grew up with, and mostly I knew Italian, Roman Catholic. So
Arab Irish? I didn't know that was a thing.
Say
Like
again?
as one person, there were Arab Irish people.
No.
Oh, I
no.
thought.
I'm
I
saying
was like, they're
growing
Arab
up, I knew.
and they're Irish.
I mean, I'm sure it is.
I'm
but
Cuban Irish.
I knew
so
Roman.
It's possible.
I knew Roman, Irish, and Polish Catholics growing up.
Got it. Got
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And then, but when I got in college, I met my first Arab person. His name was Wagdi.
Your
And
first
we were
Arab.
both Egyptian. And we bonded on that because he was like, I haven't met another one either except my family. Like, they weren't really commonplace where I grew up.
So
Wow.
you were in Philly or
Outside.
Right outside.
And that's where, how long have you been doing comedy now?
Christ almighty, dude. I did Ari Shaffir's storytelling show last night, and I said this on stage, and as it was coming out of my mouth, I was like, oh, my God. Going on 22 years.
Holy shit. That's how old I am, basically.
Yeah, what year were you born?
I'm 26. I was born in 95.
Well, surprise, that's your
Basically,
dad.
how? Come on, let's not.
Yeah.
You just shaved 4 years off your age.
Hey, but come on. It's still pretty crazy.
that's a
We're
healthy,
so close.
That's a healthy
Hey,
shave.
I'm a woman. Let me shave a little bit. Okay?
Yeah, all right. The no, where I'm I started in 2001.
Good
And
year. Fun year.
I met
to
you when you
start.
came to the city. You
Yeah.
were living with Jay. It was you, Jay, Metzger. That was kind of the crew that I remember.
Yeah, it was me, Jay, Marina, Metzger, Dante. God, I guess Sherrod. Sherrod was always sort of in between. Like he wasn't. No, I guess Sherrod was more in like Burr's class and those guys. But yeah, it was. Who else was in our class? Oh, Rachel Feinstein, Amy Schumer. Well, Amy was a little younger than us, but basically, like Kevin Hart. Believe it or not, was our class. I mean, he. catapulted into
Well, he doesn't have a sandwich shop, Joe. That's
yeah.
What's the first club you broke in New York City? Because that was a thing. Like you used to. I don't even know. Do you guys even try to break clubs anymore? Is that you don't care?
Yeah, no.
They don't
It's not
care.
a thing.
That was a
know.
thing. Breaking the clubs, huge deal.
I'm like embarrassed to do
I don't even
clubs
know what
now.
that means, like the phrase breaking it. What?
The first club that passes you as a paid
So
professional.
you're breaking into
You're
the
breaking
club.
into the
Got
I
club.
remember the day. I was doing guest spots at the Boston, so I was doing free
Yeah.
spots, so I could get stage time, but I couldn't make money. And I was in the throes of anxiety about absolute fucking throes of anxiety about money in this one period, in many periods, but one of the first. And I remember I was at my mom and dad's house, and I was just like, what the fuck am I going to do, man? I'm not making any money. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I still had a drum set there because I played drums. And I went in to play drums to like let out anxiety. And I remember I had my first cell phone. It was a Nokia. And I put it down behind this drum throne, and I started playing. And I was just playing for like an hour just to like let some shit out. And I turned and saw I missed a call. Back then, when you missed a call, it was very exciting on your cell phone. And I didn't recognize the number, which made it even more exciting because this was pre-spam on cell phones.
Yeah.
And,
it could be a girl. Who knows?
I didn't know who it was. And I listened to the voicemail. It was Louis Ferranda from Caroline's. And he goes, Joe, I just watched your tape. Welcome to the club, buddy. You're going to be one of our paid guys. And I remember I
That
was
must
like,
be so nice to hear.
like it was like, oh my God. I just got chills talking about
Yeah.
it. It was such a huge moment in my life. And then he booked me that weekend. I hosted for Gilbert Gottfried. That was my first paid show in New York ever.
That's insane.
And Talent, a comedian named Talent, who's
Yeah.
still a friend to this day.
Yes.
He gave me shows in Talent did all indie rooms. He didn't have a club, but he would throw you shows.
Yes.
Did you work for Talent?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So the path I took was
Yeah.
kind of because the first time I saw you perform, it was on a talent show, and it was like you and Burr, and I think it was
talent show?
No, Talent's the name of the performer.
Oh, I
He's
was like, were there other people doing other things?
his name's Talent, but it was and God, you were so funny. You and Burr just destroyed this room. It was I guess the Broadway, but it would have been the
Thanks.
Improv back then.
Those are the rooms. I can't speak for
Oh,
Burr.
and it was an Uptown show, a black show,
Yeah.
black and Spanish show. That's
Berg earned his stripes in the black rooms, and those are the rooms I started in.
that's actually
I
my
was-
first paid spot was Talent
Yeah.
doing the black rooms. They were the only ones
Black
that would put
and
a white guy
Hispanic
on.
people laugh better.
But they're the only ones that would put a white guy on, so they just want to see
We-
what's going to happen.
Yeah,
in Philly at
they're
the
laughing
Laugh,
at you.
We started the Laugh House in Philly, and me, Mike Vecchione, and Rocco Stowe were the only three white comics. So you learned real fast how to adapt because
But I mean, your style is speaks to that. Like if you watch yourself, you watch Burr, you watch Vecchione. It's not a like laid back. I'm just gonna speak. Like you're it's
very aggressive.
Yeah, but that's the point. Like you're not waiting for the audience to come to you. Which is not common because most white male comedians are just like, well, here's my 5 minutes of jokes and I'm just gonna rattle them off.
I remember when I first moved to New York and I'd see white comics, and they were very like. A lot of them had the notebook to the side, and it was very just like
awkward.
Like, did you ever notice a guy wearing a keyboard shirt? And I was like, what the fuck are these guys talking about, man? Like, because the Laugh House was South Philly, and the audience was mostly North Philly. North Philly is a rough part of Philly. And the audience would come in, and it was like, if you weren't funny, they let you know immediately. But
That's the thing with the Uptown rooms. They boo.
yeah,
They will let you know if you stay.
but
Why is that?
the audience didn't want you to pander. They just wanted you to be good. So as long as you were being honest, but you learned real quick how to be like when you started bombing. First you would cower, and then you started to be like, "Oh fuck you, man," you know.
Yeah.
And the audience would be like, "Okay, cool," you know. All right, you got some balls, and then eventually you learned how to just be yourself in front of an audience of people that you looked nothing like. You know what I mean? And it would have been the same thing if you were going in front of an audience of Asian people or even for me, Arab people. You know, which I did when I started doing the Arab American Comedy Festival. I had to learn how to do comedy in front of an Arab audience because I had never done that before. You know what I mean? And for all intents and purposes, I didn't really relate in many ways. But that's the beauty of comedy. You learn, you know, like I think if you're worth a shit, you learn that, you know.
Yeah.
People that can only perform in their comfort zone, I think whatever.
Well,
I
mean,
don't
so
I don't have to knock anybody, but
No, please.
Well, I'm saying if you're only ever in a room where everybody looks exactly like you and comes from the same background as you, what are you really doing? I mean,
not
You're not,
stand-up.
you're not
It's
able
not
to talk
stand-up.
to other people
Yeah.
that are different than you.
Yeah.
You can't play to
Yeah.
your audience. You got to go outside.
that's
of
not impressive. You
No,
know what I
it's
mean?
not.
And then also, if you go into a room that you don't relate to in a sense of your life and your past and your history, and you pander, you suck. I mean, it's stupid.
They can tell it's not the truth that
Yes.
like of your life.
Yeah, so that was one thing that me and Jay and Kurt, it was a big point of pride to not pander and just be yourself.
Well, I mean, I think that helped you with one of the early, when I was living with you. You did Showtime's White Boys in the Hood, which was it was supposed to be white comics for an all urban audience.
Right.
That was the theme of the show.
All
And
urban.
I don't, whatever you want to call it. It was
Which I
it's
know.
called White Boys in the
I mean,
Hood.
It's crazy when
One
you
of them
think,
urban shows.
Well, it's crazy now
Like
when
saying
you think
Oriental.
back to these terms that people were using at the time and how they're problematic terms now. You know what I mean? Like it's like they would refer to black crowds as urban. It's a shit thing to say.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Just
Yeah,
say
it's weird.
black.
Yeah, it's.
I am sad we can't say retarded anymore. But it's a personal thing. I just love it. But
All right.
It's hard to find good help these days, Joe. I don't know if you're aware of that.
question: when you
That's
were
because
like
she's
in between, like starting your before you get past the Carolines, you're like struggling. Like,
And by the way, Caroline's and still was like the club.
Yeah.
Like that's like you wanted to because you were working with great headliners. You were getting
Yeah.
great pay. You were getting treated well. Like that was a
Yeah.
big deal.
like
Yeah.
what are you?
No,
but what are
shoot.
you eating during that time? Like because you don't have a lot to spare, probably.
What am I eating?
Yeah. Like what was your?
When you had no money.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, a lot of fast food, a lot of pizza.
Lot
We
of
had a
pizza.
sandwich
I
shop
did that too.
uptown, Nadal.
Yeah, it was a lot of bodega
Yeah,
food.
we used Nadal
you know?
jelly.
Yeah.
$3.75. You get a cheesesteak and a soda.
Yeah.
Any time of day.
oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, it was
That's
great.
really nice.
But it was mostly that. I mean, there was no time for. I never ever went to restaurants or anything like that. I cooked for myself, but even in cooking for myself, it was a lot of cheap foods,
Yeah.
hot dogs, shit like
I
that.
eat a lot of
Yeah.
pasta.
Pasta. Microwave stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you just couldn't. That was it. I remember when before I lived with you, I lived with Jay Okerson and his girlfriend at the time, and their kid, and I hated one thing about it. I liked living with them, but his girlfriend would go food shopping for the house, and then just be like, "Okay, everybody owes this," and I hated it because I was so tight on money. I hated anything being done that I did not have full control over.
Yeah.
And I would get very upset about it because I was so broke and I was so worried about stretching my dollar as far as possible. And it wasn't like she was buying lobster and stuff. It was nothing. It was regular old stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was a lot of stuff like that at the time. I didn't mind. I liked fast food, and I still do. It was hard. It was actually hard for me to cut that stuff out.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was living with Jay, the first time I ever went, we had a day, we went to see Land of the Dead, which was a horror movie that George Romero made. We went to see Land of the Dead, and I think we went to eat lunch at TGI Fridays or some shit. And I remember being like, I could afford this. Like that was a huge moment in my life in comedy because I could afford to buy a cheeseburger at TGI Fridays and go to a movie and not feel like I
Without overextending.
made a huge mistake. So but I mean it's wild. It's wild I always say this, if you have money to feed yourself, you're doing better than a lot of people.
Yeah.
100%.
It's something I try not to take for granted to this day. I know a lot of people in the entertainment business. Most of them have significantly more than I do financially. A lot of them have big houses that I will probably never have, and cars that I will never be able to afford, and the kind of money that they will probably be handing down to their children and whatever. But I don't get down about it. You shouldn't get down about that. Comparing yourself to somebody else is not a good thing anyway. But one of the things I don't get down about it, one of the reasons I don't get down about it is I always say, like, hey, man, I can feed myself. That's huge. I can pay my rent and I can feed myself. You know, what more can you really ask for in this life, you know? Everything else
and you're
is,
doing much more than that, obviously. Like,
Yeah, he's humble.
You're
He's very
feeding other
humble.
people.
I mean, we haven't even touched on the fact that he had a rap group. He's
You were in a
an
rap
author.
group?
He's written in Hollywood. He's done a ton of stuff. I mean, I don't know what his numbers are, but he's got some dough. He's not.
well,
I
I don't know if I mentioned I'm also terrible at managing money.
What?
I was talking about my video game collection earlier.
That's an investment.
Yeah, but I'm very much YOLO with my money. No, I don't. I'm better with it now, but like, I will buy the, you know, who cares that this Super Nintendo game's $200? You only live once. It's out of print. I'll be one of the only people that has one of these. You know.
I'm like that too. Black and white. I'm like either feast or famine. I'm either
Yeah.
saving or I'm like getting everything that it's like, oh, that's cute for like never. Like I like
Yeah.
that. Let's get it.
I'm a monster. Yeah, when it comes to that, I think I'm like you.
Yeah.
More. Yeah.
But I also justify it by I don't have a wife and I don't have kids, so
I guess I don't either.
You got a Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
That's
there
right.
you go.
I'm like, I would have spent, if I had kids, this money all would have went to things I never would have seen a return on, like
Right.
school
Just
and
more cappy.
doctor
Never seen a
visits or
return.
whatever, you know. Like,
Rehab.
yeah.
Goddamn kids.
Yeah. So anyway, anyway, yeah. So
This is he also took me to see George Carlin before he died.
Oh, wow.
that was an amazing show. We saw him right before he died. He was working on his last special and he had notes. Mm-hmm. We got to see George Carlin basically do an open mic of his new hour. He was reading off of paper. It was wild.
At the Westbury.
We had
Theater,
great seats
yeah.
too,
Yeah.
because my Live Nation friends hooked us up.
Yep.
And wow, what a
Was it good?
It was amazing.
Wow.
He's better
Just
reading
reading
off
off the
of
notes.
paper than 99% of comics are
Yeah.
memorized.
Wow.
Uh,
That's fucking impressive.
it was incredible. It was an incredible experience.
Is he one of your favorite comics?
He's my favorite ever.
Number one.
Number one.
Number
yeah.
one.
Yeah, hands down, far and away, above and beyond.
Who's your number two favorite? If you had to pick.
I mean, I would. It's probably Richard Pryor. Yeah, Richard Pryor, and then I mean, look, it's not. The only reason I say probably is because I have. It's not a popular thing to say these days. I love Bill Cosby.
Hey, it's okay. It's
love his
okay.
stand-up.
You didn't know that he was doing that.
I didn't. And Bill
Or he liked him more because
Or he
of it.
did.
Bill Cosby himself, to me, is the greatest stand-up special of all time. Like, it's, you know.
Yeah.
But and Woody Allen's another huge influence.
Yeah.
Problematic king. Problematic king. Yeah.
So Woody Allen, Bill Cosby, Pryor, Carlin, and I always say Maria Bamford
Yeah, I love her.
and Patrice. You know, those are really those are my.
Well, you worked a lot
big
with
guys.
Patrice, didn't you?
Yeah, we were good friends, and it was a real privilege to get to work. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of cool with Patrice. You know, the sort of legend of him. You know, it's kind of become like when I talk to people and I'm like, you knew Bill Hicks. You know, like it's interesting. You know, I feel very lucky that I got to spend the time I did with Patrice. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Learned a whole lot. Some of it was tough love, but it was all
Weird.
good. Yeah.
Him, he's gone. Mike D's gone.
Yeah.
Gilbert's gone. Jeez.
When did you start? Like, when did you decide to start? Like, at what point were you in life?
I was playing music, and that was what I wanted to do. And I was in fact rapping at the time, and I was
I wanna hear
trying
that.
actively to become a music producer. I was trying to I was producing a lot of rap beats. I was buying a lot of equipment to make my own beats.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was trying to get a job producing beats, which is not a thing. You know, most hip-hop producers become producers because they work with a group that gets signed, or a guy buys beats from them and then they get a name, whatever. I was trying to shop myself around Philly as a producer, and I was not having much luck. And I went and did an open mic with a friend of mine that I used to play in a band with, and we were just going to do an acoustic thing because I sang in this band. And we were doing our set, and the crowd wasn't listening to us, and we were drinking, and they were drinking. Everybody was drunk, so we started like riffing these songs where we were making fun of how much the audience sucked.
Okay.
And when we got off stage, the proprietor of the bar was like, "I love your act. It's very funny. Do you want to do a show here?"
Huh.
And we were like, Yeah, sure.
We're not in a position to say no.
Yeah.
Figure it out later.
Yeah, and then we were like, we don't fucking do comedy. Like, he thought that was like our act. Like, we were just fucking around. So me and my buddy started doing comedy there on Monday nights.
Together.
We would do the intermission of Monday Night Football. We were going to do stuff together, and it was all sketches and stuff like that. There'd be like 6 people there. It always bombed, but we had fun. And then on like the 6th week of us doing it, my buddy was like, "Dude, I'm a teacher. I have a good job. I don't want to do this. It sucks." And I was like, No, we have to do it tomorrow. We can't bail. And he was like, I'm out. I don't give a shit. And I was like, okay, well, I've always wanted to try stand-up. I guess now's the time. And I wrote 5 or 6 minutes of stand-up that night and went in the next night and did it. And it did, and then it was packed. It was packed. The first night it was packed. It was the first time ever it was packed. I was so scared. And I bombed, but I did well enough that I was like, I want to try it again. And then the second time I did it, it was not packed, but I did okay. And then that was it. I started going down to the open mic at the Laugh House.
That's a pretty crazy origin story.
And within a year and a half, I was living in New York with Jay Okerson, and within 2 years, it had become my job. And I had been doing music for years. I made more money in my first year in stand-up comedy than I ever did in all the years I did music. And by more money, I mean $100.
So,
I'm not exaggerating.
but if that guy had never asked you to do that funny act that he saw,
never would have done it.
Never would have done it.
I was too scared.
Wow.
I got forced into doing it. I never would have done it.
You kind of stumbled into it. It wasn't even like you wanted to do it because your friend stepped out and you stayed.
But it was the forcing. It was the. I had a real.
You felt obligation.
I had the real never say die attitude about performing back then. I came up and I played. I did rap and stuff, but I also played in a lot of hardcore and punk bands, and it was just. I played houses and basements, and you just never quit. It was like all the bands you looked up to. You see pictures of guys fucking performing while blood's coming out of their head because they fucking fell down by accident in the middle of the show, or somebody headbutted them, or a guy cuts himself by accident during the show. You just the whole attitude was like you never say die. You do the show wherever.
Yeah, you got to show up.
So that attitude is what forced me to do stand-up when my buddy bailed. But had I not, I never would have done it by myself.
Yeah.
I had written it. I wanted to do spoken word, what they called, which not poetry, but
like slam poetry.
No, like Henry Rollins does it. Like Henry Rollins does speaking engagements, and he's not a stand-up comic, but he talks.
An entertainer of sorts.
Yeah, he tells stories
yeah.
or reads essays or recites essays or whatever, and they're entertaining and sometimes they're very funny. Jello Biafra from the Dead Kennedys does it. They've both put out several records where they do it. I'll get to what I'm about to do in a minute, but that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to do that since college. But there was no way to do it because I was like, there's no such thing as a spoken word club. Like you can't make it as a poet. Like you can't, you know what I mean? Like it's not fucking 18, whatever.
The early 1900s.
Yeah, those days had kind of gone.
Yeah.
So there was no way to do it, and I didn't know how to do it. But stand-up was the closest thing to me that you could do it, and George Carlin was the best example of somebody that mixed both, in my opinion. So that's why he was my favorite. But eventually, because of stand-up, I started to write op-eds for Penthouse and for some other outlets, and I'm about to record an album now of collected readings.
Oh, wow.
Not for an audience, just in a studio of the stuff I've had published.
When you come and buy a sandwich, you get a reading.
Yeah. But it's like finally I'm getting to do this thing that I wanted to originally do, which was like read like entertaining essays
That's awesome.
You know,
like you finally got to the point that you wanted to start at, like, because you have enough time and resources to be there.
But my instincts were right. It will bomb. It will do nothing. It will make no money.
It's still alt.
But I'll just put it out.
It's still fun to just think maybe. Who knows?
Well, let's bring over your sponsors.
Yeah. Do you want to try the sandwich?
Yeah, of course. But I want to crack open this whiskey. I want to get your guys over here.
Wyoming whiskey. Hey guys. Thank you to everybody in the audience, by the way.
Oh yeah, we got
an
an audience.
Friendly
This
faces
is wild.
out there.
Yeah. This is more people than my last show.
Yeah, there you go.
This is a good comedy room, Joe. So why don't you tell us who's coming over and joining us and how they fit into this?
So these are the boys from Wyoming Whiskey.
We are very tight, very quick. I'm sorry.
That's okay. This is Dave and this is Tommy. Dave is the distiller for Wyoming Whiskey. Tommy is the rep. Am I saying it right, Tommy?
Yes.
He's more than that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't want to. That's why I asked if it was okay.
I get the pleasure of representing the brand in New York and Connecticut, which is a lot of fun. So
How do you get involved with a comedian who's making sandwiches on the Lower East Side from Wyoming? So
I have no idea why I'm here.
Yeah.
you see my
been sampling your own product, and now you're on the Lower East Side of New York. I got you.
Yeah. No, it started out with the stand, which is great, and this being a pop-up at the stand was awesome. We have a great relationship with Paul, and obviously love sandwiches, love the whole concept of it, and we were doing something cool with Joe, where Joe created his own barrel-aged cocktail at the stand that we had signed and was cruising, and from there we tried to find another way to pair it on up. Like, let's make canned cocktails for your awesome social club style sandwich joint, and we'll find another way to work together. So, as a New Yorker, love my sandwiches, but also love my social clubs. It was the place that you went to on Halloween that had the best candy and would give dollar bills, you know. So, love the concept, love jumping on board, and we were able to link up and do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And you built the outside area, which is what we're sitting in now.
Yeah. So I didn't raise a single hammer, but our ideas built it up. So, Joe and Paul wrote me one night, and they said the word Winnebago, and I first went to Lone Star and Spaceballs.
Yeah. So the guys at Wyoming have been amazing to us. They've, as I said, they sponsored the Winnebago. We're proud to have their emblem on the side of it, and we think it's a really great partnership for multiple reasons. But one of the things that we always say is that, nobody makes. I shouldn't say nobody, but it's probably hard to find an awesome sandwich in Wyoming, and it's probably hard to find.
Is that true?
Keep going.
Yeah. And it's probably hard to find awesomely distilled whiskey in New York. So here's the Wyoming whiskey, Winnebago, which metaphorically traveled from Wyoming to here to bring us great whiskey, and so we can give good sandwiches to the people of Wyoming.
So this is the greatest experience I've ever had with a Winnebago, because normally you're stuck behind them when you're driving through Yellowstone and you want to blow them all up.
Right.
I don't want to do that here. This is fantastic. So thank you for doing this, first of all.
You're welcome.
This is incredible.
Thank
the
you.
Italian sub that I just had, or sandwich, is fantastic.
Awesome.
So
Thank you.
You're spot on. When it comes to Wyoming, first of all, towns are few and far between.
Yeah.
And then in each town, you're not getting the best of really much. You're getting great steaks out there. You're getting certain things that are indigenous to the area. You're getting some quality stuff.
Right.
But when it comes to a really good deli sandwich, I still yearn for it all the time.
Sure.
And so when Tommy presented this idea, I was like, this is fantastic.
What I'm hearing is you want to franchise Joey Rose's in Wyoming. That's what I heard.
I want to park this
Did I
thing right
not?
on the square of
Did I not?
Jackson.
Yeah.
And let's do it.
What kind of sandwiches are there in Wyoming, by the way? What's like the local, what would be a Wyoming-based sandwich?
It's got to be Buffalo or something.
It's getting more bougie in Jackson itself because there's so much money that's coming in the last year. So you'll get these really super high, like a lot of beef-based stuff, with the au jus and whatnot.
Okay.
But when it comes to really good deli meats, it's tough to find. But a sandwich, you're going to get a lot of burgers if you call that a sandwich. Tons of burgers.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of beef, like I was saying, a lot of steak type burger or steak type sandwiches, and anything beyond that you kind of want to stay away from, because it's just not going to be great.
All right.
And when you go into a restaurant anywhere outside of Jackson, not almost anywhere, you stick to beef.
Okay.
You don't buy the fish. You know, you don't get the Clams Casino in Sheridan, Wyoming.
Right. Yeah. No. I would imagine. Jesus Christ.
They don't have that horseradish aioli is not in Jackson either from the beefy here, which is fantastic.
We should probably crack open this whiskey.
I think that's a good play.
Eat something too.
Yeah, of course I am.
The sandwiches are fantastic.
Yeah, I just had. Which one is this
That's
one?
the
That's
dad.
the dad.
Oh
Which one
man,
is
I
this?
love the dad.
What do I do here?
That's the Eastie. This is the prosciutto and salami, and that's the turkey and roast beef.
I love dad.
Go there.
Go there.
That was what I just had. It was fantastic. Not that the others are bad. I'm sure they're
Nice
all
hot
awesome.
peppers.
Oh, that looks like my kind of.
Pretty good, buddy.
My kind of. No, I'm good.
Tommy,
This is a cool spot, by the way. I just want to say it is so fun to be back in the city. It's been
Thank
about
you.
2.5 years since I was traveling, and to be here, listening to the New York City accent, I've lost.
an
I'm a
excellent
wannabe
sound.
New York City guy. Yeah, exactly.
no, you don't like this?
No, this is an excellent sandwich.
Oh.
I have to talk, so I can't just
I
have a
thought-
sandwich in my
I
mouth.
swear to
This is
God,
excellent.
I thought you shook. I thought you went like this. I was
He's
like,
got all
oh.
the mannerisms of like an Italian owner. Like, what's
What
the
a
matter?
nice
You don't like the
vibe.
sandwich? You don't like the sandwich?
I
You
got
put the sandwich
nervous.
down.
It needs to be that way, though.
I got nervous. All right, and we're going to give shots to everybody inside this Winnebago,
Like an
right?
Italian grandma.
I
So
love
we're
it.
giving you all shots.
Shots for everybody.
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock. That 2 o'clock. Sure.
Fuck it.
Hey, 2 o'clock's pretty late.
Guy in the back said he had something
For
to do today,
comics.
and he no longer has anything to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm technically on the clock. I'm getting paid for this right now. From
Yeah.
my work.
I have to record my podcast at 8 p.m., so I got a window here.
All right. So, do you want to tell us a little about the whiskey?
Sure. So, as you said, we distill, we grow all of our grains in a little town called Byron, Wyoming. It's all non-GMO stuff. We distill in Kirby, Wyoming. We age everything at our distillery. What you're drinking here is at least 5 years of age. I think for whiskey to be worth anything, it should be at least 4, in my opinion. We've kind of found a sweet spot in the 5 to 6 year range with this. It's 88 proof, and you tell me what you taste.
How much do you have to drink being in this business? Is it like a daily thing?
I moderate it.
What does that
because
mean?
It hurts
sounds
me.
like you're not doing that.
Well, no, come on, I'm doing shots on at the corner of Attorney
I
and
moderate.
Riverton.
It's
you know,
Tuesday at 2 p.m.
Clearly.
Yeah. So
This
I
is-
drink a lot, but
That's the biz.
I try to go many days without drinking in between because if I don't, I pay the price.
Yeah, that's fair, but that's the biz.
It is the
These are
biz.
your clients.
Yep.
And you got
It's a fun business. People, pouring a libation for somebody, for these folks out here, it's fun.
So this is a true story in an article I found. My grandfather hit a parked cop car, drunk, and he got charged with attempted murder because there were no DWI laws, and he got off because he was a bartender, and the judge said, "Well, you got to drink with your clients."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So I'm an
incredible.
attorney as well, and I'm going to use that the next time I need to.
I mean, this is also probably like 1940
Yeah,
or
this is
something
a
like that.
different
Yeah.
I just realized how much he looks like Lenny Marcus.
You know, a
Right?
little
A
bit.
little bit.
Yeah, there's a resemblance.
But like a
how
more
should I
like,
take that?
no, he's fine. I like Lenny a lot. It's not a bad thing. Yeah.
You look like more of like a rugged Lenny
Yes,
Marcus.
you look like a more rugged version of a
Lenny's
guy.
not rugged.
No, he's not at all. He's
So-
not at all. But not a bad-looking chap. So don't be insulted.
So we had Bird on the show. We had TJ on the show. They all raved about your shop, Joe. It's
Yeah, they
it's
did.
fun to be here for the outside launch. We should probably do a toast to this fine whiskey.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank
Cheers.
you for being part of the opening. Cheers, cheers, everybody. Cheers.
That's nice.
Tastes the same as I had it last
Yeah,
night.
it tastes like Joe's going to go out of business. That's what it tastes like. It's that good that I'm like, oh, he's going to be drunk on the bar a lot.
Yeah. Whew.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now, and is this the only whiskey you have in the line, or are there?
No, this is our flagship.
Yep.
It's like I said, it's a small batch bourbon. It's made from 45 barrels.
Mm-hmm.
It's our entry level, if you want to call it that, but it's about 40 to 45 bucks a bottle. And then from there we go up. We have our single barrel, excuse me, which is a $100 version of this. We find about 12 to 16 barrels a year total. And that would be the best of the best when it comes to what I would consider our wheated bourbons. And then we have a rye branch, Outrider is what it's called, and it's a blend of an almost rye with our bourbon made with rye, because everything else is wheated that we do. And that, in my opinion, is what really turned a lot of heads with us and caught people's attention.
Nice. And what, Joe? What drink do you make with this? Do you have a special?
Oh, anything.
What was the drink that you were talking about that he was doing at the stand?
Well, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So at the stand, we had different classic cocktails in barrels. At Joey Rose's, what we have is inside of a can now. So you want a classic Manhattan, So it's Wyoming whiskey, sweet vermouth, and a little bit of Angostura bitters with club soda. So it's a carbonated Manhattan highball.
Okay, so I think we'll have recipes for Joey Sandwich online, but we're also going to put some drink recipes up also.
Beautiful. We could have a ton for you guys with that too.
And in my opinion, I would say that our bourbon goes really well with any citrus-based cocktail, like with our small batch. Our Outrider's a little different. I think that can hold up more because it's 100 proof. It's got a little bit of rye in it. It has that spine. But our small batch, in my opinion, anything like an old fashioned is particularly good with it.
Nice.
The canned cocktails were something we wanted to do here that Wyoming jumped behind, which is very cool. And the reason we wanted to do them was not just because it's great to get a cocktail in a can. Obviously, people enjoy that. But, this is a very old school spot. This is very much a beer and shot bar. It's very much, classic drinks kind of bar. And what we weren't doing a lot of was craft cocktailing. And we thought if we were going to do it and somebody did want it, let's do it in our way. And let's do it in a way that fits our aesthetic. So that was kind of what sparked this concept of canning these multi-ingredient cocktails with Wyoming and their brand. And we're going to bring out other flavors after this Manhattan version.
There's nothing better than a classic Manhattan, right? So putting Lady Liberty representing New York City,
I'm with Joe with the beer and shot, though. I'm like, yeah. Cut out the chit chat. Let's go straight to Happy Town.
I'm with you. And Wyoming whiskey was great with High Lifes as well, if I must say so.
Yeah. We do a lot of beer and shot specials with Wyoming here. So, yeah.
Next one that we have up, we're gonna keep it in the family for Edrington. And we're gonna go Brugal. So we're gonna do a classic style, the Manhattan Special. If you ever had the espresso soda, So it's gonna be a riff off of that. It's gonna be Brugal, a little bit of Fernet Branca in there, espresso. And carbonated just like that, and representing Washington Heights. It's going to be called the Heights Special.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to do some interesting mixes here. So I think it's going to be great.
I think it's genius. I think it fits in with everything here, and I'm honored that you guys would have picked us. So thank you.
Well, we're honored that you let us. That you accepted.
I think T's got a question.
No, I was wondering, it's pretty crazy that you're a Wyoming brand and now you have all these New York signature drinks. Are you going to sell those too in Wyoming? The
what do your Wyoming friends say about this?
I'm a New York question. I'm a New York guy. I'm not from So I'm born and raised in New York, and I get to represent them here. So get a really good product from Wyoming. I'm going to sprinkle my New York dust on it.
You look like you're from New York. He looks like he's about to go fishing. I'm not entirely sure.
I'd rather be fishing.
So, you go north a
did you
bit.
think there was a boat? He's wearing a vest.
I was raised in the East Coast. I was raised in Albany, and I could have gone with the New York, upstate preppy look, which is I guess what I was as a kid, and I'm not that anymore. So this is what I am. And
you're drunk on whiskey. And you live in
drunk
Wyoming.
on whiskey, and I'm comfortable. But
what are those pants made out of?
I don't know, burlap maybe.
I don't know. They look leathery. That's
to
why
answer your question about the cocktails, I'm all about new product development and trying different things. But there's so many different opportunities for us to do different things. We have to be smart about the direction that we go. And I think things like this are going to lead us into looking more closely at it, because there's a place in Maine that I'm going to be heading to that's doing the exact same thing, and I'm very curious to try their cocktail and see how that is. And if this really is a thing and it starts to catch, then I think Edrington, our partners, and we would have to take a closer look at it.
You could have a line for different states. It'd be pretty cool. It's good shit.
I'm going to give you
want
my
a job?
mailing address for whiskey.
Yeah.
Just
Hire
mail
me.
the whiskey. So do you guys want to plug your website? Do you want to plug the brand? What do you want to do? Yeah, plug something. Your Instagram?
So if you want to see other Wyoming activations all throughout the city, my Instagram is T_Maury, Mauri. Follow us at Wyoming Whiskey, just the name, at Wyoming Whiskey. If you want to see some really cool stuff and some true outdoorsman experiences, the Fainting Goat is David's social media handle, and it's a lot of fun. To have someone that literally supplies you with this awesome brand that could call you and say, hey, I saw you're doing a gaming dinner. I could go out in my backyard and shoot an elk if you want. So you could follow him and see all that really cool, authentic Wyoming lifestyle things as well. But you can check
must
out
have a lot
Wyoming
of liberal
whiskey.
fans in New York. You want me to go shoot this elk? I'll shoot him for you.
I try to keep it kind of tame.
Yeah.
But it's great because now I got an elk guy too. It just adds
You got
to the
an
list
elk
of
guy.
being the New York person.
Tommy's got a guy for
Please
everything.
make an elk sandwich. Please.
All right,
Please.
maybe
An elk sandwich? Come on.
perhaps. Yeah.
We'll get it done.
I'm not against it.
We'll get it done.
I'm not against it. All
I've
right.
got a freezer full that I'll send you some advance made.
All right. Well, let's do another shot before we...
Definitely, but I know you have a party and you're launching today, so I don't want to take too much of your time, but we'll do another shot, and I want you to plug the place. I want you to plug your Instagram. I want you to plug your horror show.
I'll plug it all,
Plug
baby.
it all.
Plug it up.
Joey Rose's, located at 174 Rivington Street.
The Joey Roses.
The Joey Roses.
You might have heard about it on Rogan. You might have heard about it on this podcast.
Joe Rogan's been very vocally supportive, and we are very flattered by that.
So was Bert. Bert was really enthusiastic about the fact that you were like doing something outside of comedy with your comedy.
Bert was really, you know what, let me say this, the comedy community as a whole, fans and comedians alike, have been extremely supportive and really gave us the push we needed to start out with having a base audience instead of having to start just from the ground level. You know, like they really came through, and they still do, and allowed us to have some opening momentum, and they've been incredible. So thank you to the entire comedy community. I really mean that. Joey Rose's, 174 Rivington Street. We're open Tuesday through Sunday. Go to joeyrosesnyc.com for all the information on hours. You can order us online if you want DoorDash, Caviar, or through our website. And full bar, full sandwich shop. We're doing what we think people want, and people seem to be enjoying it. So come on down, hang out, have a great time. And then my podcasts you can check out. Taste Buds with Sal Volcano on YouTube, on the No Press Network channel. And then We'll See You in Hell, the horror movie podcast to do with Pat Walsh. You can find that on patreon.com/WYIS. No, I'm sorry. This is it wrong. Patreon.com/WSYIH podcast. Check all that stuff out. Thank you. Buy Wyoming whiskey wherever you see it, and come down to the Wyoming Winnebago outside of Joey Rose's.
Hell yeah.
If you happen to start a Dungeons & Dragons gaming club in the back of that bar, I will be back. Because I quit it cold turkey when I was 14, and I'm ready to come back.
Well, maybe we start one out here.
There we go.
Starting to understand why there's so many dudes here.
That would be an interesting vibe.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I got to thank Joe for extending me a full credit line inside of Joey Roses. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. And sending me whiskey, Wyoming whiskey. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
We're going to do a shot real quick.
Cheers.
Kitty, plug something.
Cheers, everybody. Cheers.
Oh, well, I am on Instagram at Tere is crazy. That's Tere is crazy. That's it.
Kitty, got anything?
Thank you very much.
At Kit Reynolds on Instagram, at Reformed Hot Girl on TikTok. But I think about quitting social media every week, so don't get excited, guys. I might get off. Okay.
She says it to the camera.
All right.
We're going to eat these sandwiches, but I'm Ryan Reiss. You can find me at RR Comedy on Instagram. This is The Cheat Day Show. You can find us on Instagram there, as well as Patreon. I don't know. Enjoy your lives, guys. Cheat
Thanks.
well.
Thanks for listening to the Cheat Day Show podcast. To learn more about our show, the hosts, the comedians, our guests, our chefs, and more, visit our website, thecheatdayshow.com. Also, follow along with us on our social media at The Cheat Day Show on Instagram and Twitter. Future episodes can be found in all the places you get your favorite podcast. Our show is also sponsored by the world-famous Comedy Cellar on McDougal Street in New York City's Greenwich Village. Visit ComedyCellar.com for show lineups happening 7 days a week. Later, cheaters.